Do you feel confused and uncertain about there is a possibility of returning? Along with your former partner, I recognize that experiencing the fear, the want, and the persistent uncertainty about whether your efforts will. You want to make sure that everything is done correctly. However, you're also worried that every incorrect action and every incorrect word could drive them away. It's challenging and an uncertain period, yet you're not by yourself. Many people have been in your position, a location where your heart is. You want to believe that they are always at odds. There is hope, but you must also understand. Since you're headed in the correct direction, how do you identify the telltale symptoms that your ex is considering returning? How are you? Be aware that you still have the opportunity to restore the relationship you value. Primarily in this video, we will examine the positive indications that your former partner may be. When contemplating a reunion, this is not just a means for you to obtain a more comprehension of the circumstances, but also a manual to assist you in avoiding needless errors and concentrate on what actually works. But first, keep in mind that improvement begins with you realizing your value and exercising patience throughout the procedure. Let's start this exploration adventure. Sign 1. Your ex is perplexed. Now sign 1, because the seed is puzzled by your ex. Of remorse is among the most obvious indications that your former partner may be considering attending. Back is when they're perplexed. Confusion is more than just a condition of uncertainty. Remember, it's the result of a profound internal conflict. Regarding the choice to go from you when you begin to alter in a constructive manner, it frequently undermines their faith in their first choice, that ending a relationship with you did what was right for your ex. Will begin to inquire not just about themselves and you. So why is he altering now? What caused him to act? Was it incorrect of me to be more different? These inquiries not only perplex the patient, them, but also foster a feeling of, this is the phase of insecurity, where they will come to you with inquiries. Very descriptive at times. Where were you? Why didn't you do this yesterday? You transform. Before these inquiries are not only to gather data, but also a means for them to reconsider their lost and gauge how you've changed. Confusion is frequently the initial indication that your former partner is observing you. Start by contrasting who you are now with the individual they previously knew. Recognize that you have changed, maybe more self-assured and autonomous, or appearing less devoted to the connection. This shift causes them uneasy, as they secretly aren't prepared for you to fully leave their emotional orbit, especially when your former partner feels perplexed. It's also an indication that they are thinking more frequently. They are no longer unconcerned about you, or indifferent, but rather inquisitive and even concerned inquiries such as, what actually occurred, or did I make a decision too quickly? To split out and start infiltrating there. This indicates that you have begun to have a specific effect, even while your ex's perplexity is indirectly the initial indication, but also among the most crucial indicators that you are on the correct course. Don't rush to clarify or persuade them to stay focused instead. Following your individual path, grow into someone you embrace your genuine self and are proud of it. Remember that changes speak for themselves. Returning is not the only objective. Together, but to create a more robust partnership. If their confusion gives way to curiosity, and finally a wish to get back in touch with you, will be aware that your quest has produced valuable sign 2. Anger findings indicate that the pathway to actual feelings of your ex's rage, when despite appearances, it's actually a pretty positive and uplifting indication that strong emotional feelings are still present. Relationship between your fury and theirs doesn't originate from apathy. Rather, it from bewilderment, disillusionment, or even a feeling of loss, which demonstrates that they still care about you, which is a crucial component in perhaps rescuing the connection when your former partner is upset. Perhaps because they believe you have changed, but they didn't change earlier. Why is he only displaying these? What if this had occurred sooner? Perhaps things would have turned out differently this time. In reality, rage is a response to their regret and internal struggle. They might not acknowledge it, but it demonstrates that you're slowly altering the way people see you and the decision to split up. Additionally, they could be upset because their ego is bruised by the idea that does he even appear to be living well without me? Happier, which breeds resentment and worry that you've really moved on from this. Sensation is an indication that your physical and mental attractiveness. Yes, rage can still remain in their eyes, be a sign that love will be rekindled there. The distinction between anger and when they're upset, they're powerfully expressing their feelings, and that demonstrates your continued significance. Someone who doesn't give a damn would not be upset. Instead, they would be unconcerned. But if your ex is powerful to your modifications, it demonstrates that you still possess emotional control. But in order to transform rage into love, you must possess effective communication skills. Now is not the moment to quarrel or attempt to. Instead, listen to show yourself correct. Their sentiments show genuineness in your shift and show that you've not for them, but to become a better version of for themselves once they understand that you are not motivated by clinging anymore. Feelings of neediness, they will progressively find yourself drawn to your self-control and self-assurance in their rage, perhaps connected to the attractiveness as well. You incite thoughts of concern or envy, that you might come upon someone more fortunate. Emotions accompanied rage upon seeing you grow more appealing, more self-assured, or accomplish things you've never done before. It heightens their perceptions of insecurity, and what's amazing is that this lack of confidence frequently causes individuals to begin to question whether they are losing something significant. And appealing is not only about looks, but also regarding the improvement in your mood and a confident outlook on life. Someone who respects themselves and develops immediately and will produce an alluring allure as soon as they realize this keeps them thinking about you. Despite their best efforts, they must deal with, you must keep your ex's rage at bay. Remain composed and mature and don't react to their rage with unpleasant feelings, but consider it a chance to start over. Rather than debating, the emotional bridge demonstrate your understanding of their emotions and are prepared to hear without judge them and show them that you haven't not only altered your conduct, but also mature in your emotional management and, above all, communicate, keep up your self-improvement. Control your rage, return you to an emotional condition. Dependence instead, allow them to learn for self that their rage is only a portion of the value realization process. When your ex is upset, you bring a positive indication of their affection for you are still living, demonstrating that you continue to have an impact on care and might be going through internal turmoil about the decision to split up. By managing this anger management techniques and keeping up with declare your value as a person, you not only have an opportunity to keep the relationship intact, but additionally establish the framework for a more robust relationship in the social media sign. Sign 3 for the future when your ex stalks. You are one of the subtle ones on social media, but crucial indications that your ex continues to be concerned about you is when they stalk you covertly on social media. This can cause you to feel worried, confused, or even optimistic, but it's really a very significant indication if you are able to. When your ex looks at it, act appropriately. Your articles or contributions are more than just a passing interest, which is their method of keeping up a mental relationship with you. Without speaking to one another directly, they wish to understand how you're doing. Sentiment and, above all, whether you're advancing without them, such as altering your profile, sharing joyful photos, or purposefully sharing fascinating activities, may be psychological strategies. They try to arouse your emotions in order to test you, make you question whether they've moved on from the partnership, but the reality is that if they have lost interest in you, they wouldn't take the time to follow your. This demonstrates on social media that in there. Keep in mind that you still have a significant role. They could wish to see how you've altered or even to uncover hints that you are still considering them, although they're behind. They can't decide whether to move on or not, or returning to you. Therefore, what ought you to do? What to do if you notice your ex is following you on? Stay on social media first and foremost. Remain composed and refrain from reacting right away. Continuously monitoring their account or wasting too much time making assumptions about the significance of what they're doing if you get sucked into this mental game. You'll be unable to regulate your feelings. It may cause you to behave hurriedly and make errors instead of using this chance to demonstrate that you have transformed and are leading happy lives. Utilize social media as a means to discreetly express your experiences of good change. After of you taking part in novel activities, reaching individual milestones, or expressing interests you used to ignore, allows social media to grow into a demonstrate that you're not just moving forward while simultaneously relishing life in the finest manner feasible. However, you must keep in mind that now is not the moment to flaunt whatever you share or be phony. Must be genuine and represent who you are, genuinely genuine and organic. Are the elements that produce long-lasting attractiveness when you continue to self-control and avoid becoming enmeshed in your ex's first feelings, will start to experience internal turmoil. They will question why. Does he no longer give me any attention? What has altered your combined silence? With encouraging indications of personal development, will help them understand that you don't rely on them less to define your value, as you should be cautious to steer clear of typical errors, such delivering mysterious messages or purposefully arousing their feelings. This only ruins your reputation and makes them feel that you're attempting to control them. Keep in mind that your objective is not to prove anything to them other than to take pride in who. The truth about you is that when your ex keeps following you, it's not just an indication that they are still concerned, but also a chance for you to reiterate your "I don't attempt to compel them to return." Instead, let them come to their own realization that a worthy person has passed away. Sign 4. Interaction. When your ex wants to see you, sign and be in continual communication, one of the most obvious and encouraging indications that your former partner may be thinking about getting together when they look for consistent correspondence and would like to see you. Those calls, messages, or even invitations to meet are more than only social gestures. There is a deeper desire behind these activities. Are attempting to restore the attractiveness of the connection and report that once you two had a conversation when your ex claims they wish to be friends. You could be perplexed, or perhaps cause you pain. You question how they can simply wish to be friends after all of this we've experienced. But in actuality, the wish to keep up a friendship can be a manner for people to come up to you without having to acknowledge that they still possess sentiments. This is a crucial indication that they wish to keep you around fully and that you are still needed by them. Throughout their lives they are searching for link, but they might be unsure on how to. They clearly state that you and them are merely buddies. Occasionally these phrases don't portray the reality that your ex might not understand the importance of attraction in the prior relationship. They believe that the partnership has lost its original spark, and they are unaware of that. Replicating the attraction is as significant like the initial phases when you try starting a new relationship together. to draw one another in and create expectations and establish a feeling of mystery. And this is just what you need. Excitement. Should rebuild right away rather than concentrating on how to win back your ex's affection, ought to concentrate on rekindling the emotion of attraction. We avoid discussing what occurred regarding previous errors or promises, rather than make each and every dialogue and each interaction is new, fascinating and thrilling when you show up with a cheerful, self-assured, and you will make them feel at ease. I wonder how this individual has changed, so that they give me the impression that when we fell in love for the first time, if your ex want to see you frequently and would like to speak with you and communicates consistently, it indicates that they are seeking a sense of association. They might not be certain that they will return jointly, but your presence is generating. This demonstrates an irresistible appeal, that you still possess unique worth in a worth they haven't discovered in anybody else. But you must also acknowledge that they are putting their sentiments when they state that they only wish to be buddies. It's how they maintain a safe emotional separation. But if you're aware how to make every encounter into a chance to generate interest, you can progressively alter their viewpoint. The secret to resolving the issue is to stimulate interest and a feeling of inner relationship. Attraction doesn't hasten things or attempt to save the relationship right away, rather of establishing a different perception of you in their eyes. Someone who is handsome, self-assured, and when you demonstrate that you are not only a companion but an ideal companion, they'll start to understand that you're worthy of more. Keep in mind when your ex wants to see you all the time, but it's not. It's all about communication. Confirmation that they are still interested in, because they haven't actually departed from the association, which indicates that you have the chance to restore appeal and increased openness and a sense of connectedness. A new phase in the partnership. Don't waste this chance by concentrating mainly on prior errors or pledges for the future. Live in the now and savor each moment. Spend time with them and make every interaction. The fourth sign is noteworthy. So when your ex wishes to stay in touch on a regular basis, and seeing you is more than simply a chance, although a request to reconstruct the partnership on a more solid and appealing and more optimistic foundation. Sign 5, friendship offer. The offer of friendship. In sign 5 is one of the most obvious indications that your ex is taking into account getting back together, is when they initially offer to be buddies. At first look, this offer would appear to be a means of keep your friendship intact after a breakup. However, in practice, it shows a profound battle in their mental health. This isn't just a wish to stay near you, but moreover, a means for them to investigate their feelings and determine how you respond to them. Are unwilling to acknowledge their desire to reconcile, but they also don't wish to lose you entirely. This conflict makes them decide on apathetically preserving communication while pretending to be buddies, while allowing for the potential for reconciliation throughout the initial weeks. Following a breakup, your ex could feel pleased with their choice, believing they have managed to escape the pressures of the connection, but as time goes on and the gap between you both widens, start to notice your absence more clearly. Items that were formerly routines, such as private discussions that capture your interest, or just your presence, has turned into nothing. That make it challenging to fulfill the offer of friendship emerges when they start to question whether their choice was actually the correct one. However, rather than facing directly from their feelings, they select a safer method to test your sentiments and to refrain from acknowledging they misjudge their behavior during this stage. Are typically rather obvious, although they might often text you to inquire about getting together or even recalling past experiences to arouse feelings in you. They will display greater worry than is necessary, as requesting specific information about your personal lives or displaying envy if they are aware of these behaviors indicate that you are seeing someone new. Are not only innate, but also originate from fear and worry that you are actually leaving your ex's life behind. During this stage, psychology is filled of inconsistencies. They are caught between "I regret losing you" and "I was hesitant to" acknowledge their error, but they don't want to recognize that the split was incorrect. Choice, as that would indicate that harm both themselves and you, but simultaneously. Additionally, they don't want to let you leave. Entirely due to the fact that you still significant somebody in their lives, this conflict causes them to decide on a hesitant strategy that confines you to reach, while keeping the door open of reconciling in these circumstances. It's crucial that you don't. When trapped in the friendship trap, if you accept this offer, you will create unconditionally. You can find yourself in an unclear partnership that reduces your worth in their eyes, as opposed to standing your ground yourself and demonstrate your independence. Self-assured and independent of the elderly partnership to feel content and keep a neutral yet appealing demeanor, courteous but not overly excited, let them understand that if they wish to obtain, they must be sincere when they get back together, and genuine rather than creating offerings that aren't quite sincere, while you must prioritize your personal needs. Growth and creating a new life when they are aware of your decision to move on, and they will no longer be constrained by the past. Start to feel uneasy and long to re-establish contact with you by offering. In actuality, friendship is more than just their style of keeping in touch, as well as a signal that they are dealing with complicated feelings regarding their choice. If handled appropriately, this may present a chance to restore authority in the relationship, compelling them to reconsider your value and work harder too. Now is the moment to show that they deserve you, to demonstrate to them that you're not readily interchangeable, and that if they so want return, they must demonstrate sincerity, dedication, and earnestness. The path to regaining your ex is more than merely identifying the symptoms, but also regarding fully comprehending the psychology of both sides and use one's own development to restore the relationship in a sustainable manner. If your ex shows signs of confusion, anger, follows you around on social media, to visit you or extend friendship to each other, sign is a chance for you to make a statement. Your value is the most crucial factor to recall, that a partnership is not simply based on impetuous feelings, but focuses on harmony and the importance of a strong bond. Benefit of the time spent apart, to make investments in yourself, increase your self-assurance, and develop a self-sufficient and contented life. When you develop into your greatest self, not only do you seem more appealing in the eyes of your former partner, but also establish a solid basis for any kind of connection. Let them understand in the future, for that you are no longer the someone who was emotionally dependent on you, once were, but are now self-sufficient, mature person who respects herself. This modification is what will make them recognize the worth they previously had. But when they return, make sure that both are you prepared to construct a new, stronger, more genuine friendship and full with comprehension. At last, remembering that not all partnerships are able to ought to be rekindled occasionally is the clearest indication that can acknowledge that your value as a person must never be sacrificed for any, if they are not sincere in their relationship, sufficient to return, and have faith that this voyage has aided in your development and opened the gateway to greater things in the future. My dear, is more than just a search for a partner who has departed, as well as a chance for you to learn about yourself and love yourself. Keep going, and assured as you are deserving of a lovely and wholesome love.